Welcome back to Two Dudes Talking Motorcycles. My name is Gleb, and you can follow me on Instagram at GlebLapham.
And I am Mitch. You can follow me on Instagram at Meech to the Beach.
And you can follow the podcast on Instagram at tdtmotorcycles. And you can also shoot us an email at tdtmotorcycles@gmail.com. Feel free to email us your comments, questions, concerns, feedback on the show, topic ideas, ride stories, basically anything you want to share with us. We always look forward to hearing from you guys. And
We
love
need to
hearing
reply
from
to
you.
Nicole too.
Yeah, that's true.
We
I
will.
totally
We will.
forgot about that.
We're a little bit behind. I'd say you recently just got back from a little vacation.
Yeah, I was in Florida. So basically, like 2 days after we recorded our last episode, we had Chris as a guest. Which, if you guys haven't listened to our last episode, go and check that out. We interviewed Mitch's friend Chris, who just our friend Chris, who recently completed the MSF course, the basic riding course at the MSF. And she shared her thoughts on the course itself and what it was like being basically a brand new rider. So it was a really fun episode to record. Chris was awesome. And yeah, if you haven't listened to that one already, please go ahead and do that. But yeah, and basically 2 days after that episode, I went on vacation to Florida for like a week and a half. I hung out with my parents for the first half, and then I met up with one of my friends from Boston, and then we drove down to Key West. And what was cool, the whole time we were driving down to Key West, and for those who have not driven there or have not been there, so Key West is about like 3.5 hours from Miami Beach, and you're basically driving on Florida Highway 1, and it's all the way down to the bottom, basically the bottom of the state, and the whole road follows basically like this chain of islands, the Florida Keys.
All this talking, you could just say, we drove to just the tip of America.
We drove to the tip of America.
Yes. Yeah. Just the tip.
Just the tip. But the whole time we were driving, I was thinking like, this would be so cool to do on the motorcycle. Right. Even though that road, it's not really twisty. It's mostly like kind of straight lines.
It's a scenic.
It's got nice curves and stuff, but like you're driving over the ocean. Like there's parts, especially when you're going over the 7-mile bridge there. Yeah. You're just over the water, and there's so many fun little like tourist traps along the way, and like so many like food spots and stuff to stop at, which the whole time I was thinking like this would be a really fun route to do on the motorcycle.
That would be really cool.
And at the hotel I was staying at, there was a couple of riders I chatted with for a minute. They were getting geared up and we were getting in the car, so
nice. You didn't tell me that. That's cool.
Yeah, I talked to them for a minute, and then I was like, oh, did you guys ride down the highway? And they're like, yeah, we're about to head back up. We're just down here for just for a night. Rode down yesterday, going back up today, and I'm like, man, that road must be awesome on the bike. And they're like,
amazing.
it's pretty amazing. Got that salty, fresh air, like the ocean air and stuff. And like I said, there's so many little spots to stop at along the way that I think it would be a lot of fun to do on the bike. But did it in the car, and I wanted to drive it, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And especially like at the time we were driving, as we were approaching Key West, it was basically sunset. Yeah. So as we're going over like the 7-mile bridge, you can see the sun setting over the Gulf of Mexico, and it was just beautiful.
Awesome.
It was just beautiful. I was like, damn, this is a good road trip. It's a fun road trip.
Yeah. I guess I need to check it out. A motorcycle trip would be pretty cool.
It would be cool.
I don't know if I'd want to ride my bike all the way to Florida, maybe trailer halfway or something.
No, I would totally just rent one there and ride down and then back, because there's really like everything else in Florida, like a lot of the roads there are just straight lines. I would find it like really boring to ride a bike in Florida, I feel like. Okay. Except for like the one scenic route that we did. Like going out to the Everglades from Miami Beach, it was just basically like just straight line, straight flat road, no curves or twists or anything like that. Gotcha. Because the whole state's like flat.
Right. Yeah.
There's no mountain, like nothing there.
Yeah.
So
it's like you're on the southeast coast or something.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Weird.
It's like I'm below sea level, or at sea level, I should say. Yeah. But no, it was a really fun vacation. I had a good time. I did some scuba diving, did a lot of snorkeling. So I
didn't rent a bike though.
Didn't rent a bike. No. Oh, what was fun though is that whole town. There's so many scooter rental places.
Oh, there you go.
Like little Vespas, and little Honda like scooters, and I'm like,
sick.
I was like really tempted to rent one, but at the same time, like the spot we stayed at,
you should have,
was like we could walk everywhere. So I was like, I don't know if I really use it that much, but I do want to go there again sometime in the future.
I mean, well, if we go,
we would totally
we're
rent
definitely
Vespas.
getting some like even Vespas or those little like Honda like little like monkey. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome.
If, when I go there again, because I really like the town, so I'll totally visit there again. I would totally rent one of those little scooters for a day just to bounce around. But it was pretty fun.
Yeah, sounds like Key West did a good job at hosting you. So
they did. It's a fun little town.
Good job, Key West.
With lots of good seafood and lots of good bars and taverns and places.
Hell yeah.
How was Utah?
Fucking sucks. It's the same.
Hey, at least it's getting warm. You're able to get some rides.
I did get to go out and ride. Yeah. So
I did a quick little I went up for like just an hour or two this morning.
Yeah.
Before you came up, just rode around basically my backyard.
Nice.
Here.
Yeah.
And it felt good. It felt good to get back on the bike.
Lucky.
And ride around. And you rode yesterday, right, a little bit, just around Salt Lake.
I think I rode 3 times this week, actually.
Nice.
Or maybe just twice. I don't know.
Y'all had a pretty warm week.
We did have a really,
I got up to the 70s now.
I didn't.
It was cold when I left.
I think I only rode two times this week, but yesterday it was just so nice because it was like finally the first
such a good day yesterday
where I'm not racing the sun to go down. I'm off where I had the whole day off.
That's nice.
I stepped out of my house around noon. It was the best. Just get out.
Sounds awesome.
If you're in a spot where it's starting to warm up, you get that first good full day off of the year to ride. Yeah. You got to do it. It just hits different. It just hits so different. It was amazing.
Okay, so we're going to jump into the news real quick because there was a few bikes that were announced even before the last episode we recorded. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about because one of them I did think looked really cool, and that was the new BMW R12 GS. And this bike is basically, this is a quote from Marcus Lederer. He's head of the Boxer series at BMW. This is in their press release. With the new BMW R12 GS, BMW Motorrad is offering a classic enduro for puristic off-road fun. The abbreviation borrowed from the legendary R80 GS stands for Gelände Straße, which means off-road/street, and signals the new member of the BMW R12 family. Masters both equally. We know that numerous fans have been eagerly waiting for this motorcycle. So do you remember the R9T the BMW had? Like the classic, modern classic, looking bike?
I
don't think we ever rode it. It was the R9T with the big Boxer engine.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, we never rode one, yeah.
It's their modern classic looking bike.
Yeah, yeah.
We did know somebody who had one, though.
Yeah, I think he sold it, unfortunately.
I heard that, too.
Yeah.
Then they have their big R18 with just that massive block cruiser bike. But this is the R12 GS. So
we talked about the newer R12 editions, too.
Back. We did.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
cool.
Bigger R9T, pretty much.
So now they have a GS variant of it, which basically is, I feel like this is BMW's version of the Triumph Scrambler.
My Scrambler.
The Scrambler 1200.
No, I think so,
The big Scramblers, because it pretty much hits all the same notes. It has both a more road-oriented version and then an off-road-oriented version. Does
it actually have clearance?
It does.
Wow.
It does. So it actually has got, I'll go over here in a minute, but yeah, so this is a full-on enduro off-road ready bike. And you can see here by the picture even, it is a classic looking, because remember when we had the episode.
This is the R12 GS.
Yes.
Okay.
So remember when we had the episode, we were talking about the history of the GS, overall.
Yeah.
So it started with the R80 GS. That was the OG GS.
Yeah.
So this is paying homage to.
That's pretty nice.
To that, and it looks like a retro bike, and I really dig it, especially in this classic GS.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
The blue and white color scheme. I absolutely love that. So there's a brand new bike from BMW. Well, sort of brand new, a new variant of the R12 bike, It is an air/oil cooled 2-cylinder boxer. It's 1,170 cc's, 109 horsepower, and 85 pound-feet of torque. It's got a shaft drive, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
6-speed gearbox, new single flow exhaust system with high mounted rear silencer, and it's got various riding modes. So the various riding modes are rain, road, enduro, and it has an optional enduro plus mode, which I'll kind of get into that here in a minute. And the standard suite of like traction control that can be fully disabled for off-road use, and rear ABS, which can also be fully disabled for off-road use if you have the Enduro Pro mode. It's got a quick shifter available and a 4.1 gallon fuel tank. How big is the fuel tank on yours?
Like 4.6 or something.
Okay, so just
like
a little bit small, smaller than yours on
Boy,
this.
it seems to have like all like the flaws of my bike too. Small gas tank.
Yeah.
It's an enduro bike, but you're not going to go far.
You're not going to go far. It's probably, I can't imagine it's like super light either.
Oh no,
I don't know
there's
if
no
they,
way with that boxer engine. I mean, but at least it's going to be a low center of gravity. But
yeah,
I mean, that's still not going to be a light bike.
It is 505 pounds.
Oh, it's less than mine. Shoot.
It's about the same weight as my bike. So sorry, Mitch.
Triumph Scrambler still got it beat on weight.
And I think part of that is because this has a tubular frame instead of like a solid one.
Yeah.
But so yeah. And the design, like I said, is inspired by the original R80 GS or G/S. It's got the high front fender, cross-spoke wheels, small compact cockpit fairing, basically reminiscent of like the old Dakar like bikes, like the old early Dakar motorcycles. Ergonomics and equipment for dynamic off-road riding, suited for riding both while sitting and standing. Handlebars can be adjusted, and the shape of the fuel tank is kind of made so like the back part of it you can kind of hug better with your knees for off-road riding. It's got a 33.9 inch seat height, or 33.4 if you have the Enduro Pro package. So the Enduro Pro package is an optional package, but it actually adds a significant number of upgrades on this. What it does is not only does it add the Enduro Pro riding mode, which fully disables traction control, disables the rear ABS.
Yeah.
It's basically like your off-road Pro.
Right, on the XE
mode.
Yeah. Okay.
But in addition to that, it also replaces the 18-inch rear wheel with a 17-inch rear wheel to allow for more off-road like tire sizes and things like that.
Yeah.
Both the models or trims, I guess, have a 21-inch front wheel. And then also with the Enduro Pro package, the ground clearance goes from 9.4 inches to 10 inches, and the suspension travel increases as well. So it's pretty, not just like an appearance package and a tech package, but it does actually.
So it is basically like, it's a GS that got retroed.
I would say it's more than an R12 that got GS'd.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So it was, they took an R12 and they GS'd it.
Pretty much.
Sorry.
And it does come standard with even like a flat seat without like room for a passenger. So kind of like more off-road ready seat, but you can get a passenger seat, which adds a passenger seat and also passenger foot pegs to the back of it, which most people probably would get. Yeah.
If there's one thing, like I do want to get back into off-roading and, all that stuff, get better with it. But there's one thing that I do not want to do, and that's off-road with the passenger.
Oh,
I have zero.
Not.
I see people doing it. I like,
absolutely
why?
Not.
Why would you do that?
And also they have an optional rally seat as well, which is kind of more rally.
Yeah,
and
probably like slimmer and stiffer.
Yeah. And then also the Enduro Pro package also adds larger foot pegs, grippier and adjustable rear brake lever, and the shift lever is also adjustable. And it's also got little eyelets for attaching bags to the back of the bike, which I thought they're kind of like incorporated into the frame, which I thought was kind of cool.
Nice.
So tubular steel bridge frame and steering head optimized for off-road ergonomics. Like I said, you can adjust the handlebars for more like standing, to be more comfortable like standing up.
Yeah.
Fully adjustable 45 millimeter front forks and a paralever swing arm in the back with a fully adjustable rear shock. So preload, compression, dampening, fully adjustable both front and
all that
back.
Good stuff.
Dual 310 millimeter brakes up front and a single 265 millimeter on back. And I think they're just BMW branded brakes. I don't know who BMW uses for their brakes, but I feel like most of their bikes have their own branded BMW brakes.
I can't recall. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't remember seeing like Brembos on a lot of BMWs.
I just can't remember when we've talked about BMW bikes, like what brakes come on them.
Yeah.
We always,
I feel like for most of the models that we've covered or at least looked at, they've been just BMW brand.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm assuming they use some kind of company to manufacture them and then they just
put
slap their name on it. Yeah. Or maybe have like slightly different specs for them. But it does also have linked braking. So when you pull the front brake lever, it does also apply brakes to the rear, which is pretty nice. And I think that's pretty consistent on a lot of BMW bikes, especially higher end ones.
Yeah.
Because the GS does it. A lot of the touring bikes do it. And it's kind of just a safety feature. Obviously, if you are in off-road mode or Enduro Pro mode, it does disable that feature. So you can control the brakes individually. And then it's got the usual electronics package you expect from any modern bike. But it does have a classic analog gauge cluster. I don't even know if this has a tachometer. I think it just has a speedometer.
Yeah.
And it just has like a little LCD screen for all the other info for like what riding mode you're in, your odometer, your gas.
Yeah, the R ones have always been like
it looks very basic.
Yeah, less tech.
Yep. Which for this kind of bike, I'm fully on board. Like we've complained about the Speed Twin.
Yeah.
From Triumph having the weird digital off-center like gauge
just
gauge
killing
cluster.
The look of it.
Yeah, it just does not look good. So I'm glad BMW keeps this, but they do give you the option of going with a small mini TFT screen instead. So it replaces that gauge cluster and it's instead just like kind of a strip.
Yeah.
Like a TFT strips, like a little small screen. I personally don't like the way it looks, but it does show a bit more information on it. So some people might like it, but I feel like for this bike, the analog gauge cluster is definitely the way that I would go with.
That just fits the whole style of it. Yeah.
Does have a 12 volt socket up front too. So if you need to plug in something up front, which is really nice. And like I said, the analog speedometer has a small digital display for fuel, odometer, ride mode, etc. Does still have their BMW Connect. So you can connect to your phone, do all the phone stuff, kind of like pretty much any modern bike. Standard LED lighting. They also have optional Headlight Pro lighting available, which has an adaptive headlight for like cornering and stuff, which I think is kind of cool. Keyless ride.
That was the one thing on that list I was waiting for you to get to. Hate that.
Yeah.
Hate that.
You've had a lot of misses with yours where it's just such a
right. It's just such a headache.
Yeah.
What luxury am I getting with having a keyless start bike if I could just put a key in and turn it and not like, oh, I got to change my battery. Oh, it's in the wrong pocket. It's not close enough. I don't.
Yeah, you've had some weird issues with yours.
It's nothing like it's not going to ruin my day or anything with it, but it is just like another thing you have to deal with.
Plus, I feel like it's kind of fun to be like whip out the key, like put in the keyhole, turn on the ignition, and then start your bike versus just hitting the button and stuff. But I can see the luxury of not having to like look for it in your pocket or like pull it in and out.
I mean,
but
I
on
guess
a bike,
that is kind of nice, I guess. But like, again, like where I live in my apartment, I don't have a garage. I have a carport, so I have to lock the bike up and cover it up.
Yeah, and you have to use a key to lock yours, right?
And if you want to lock the steering, you got to use the freaking key anyway. So
and I think there's some BMWs. I don't know if this one's it, but I think the big GS locks it automatically.
Yeah, well, he has like a remote lock. Yeah.
So,
but again,
I feel like it's just one more thing that's gonna like break or go wrong.
It's a motorcycle. You're not opening a door to get into a car. Right? It's just like I don't need that.
Yeah,
just a key.
I agree with you on there.
Everything's sounding cool, but an experience of having a keyless bike,
not your favorite.
It's not necessary.
And then it does have tire pressure monitoring, which is also nice. Available in 3 different colors. There's like black, fully blacked out basically. Then there's also this kind of tan and red one. And then also the classic BMW GS blue and white color scheme available. Price is around $18,000. Not a cheap bike.
No.
Which BMW, kind of par for the course.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what scramblers go for now. But
15-ish?
Yeah, I guess like out the door, you'd probably be around 18 or so. So it's more expensive than
Yeah, but it does seem to have a little bit more features than you get on the Scrambler right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then the other bike real quick is the BMW R1300R. And I didn't have a big write-up on this one just because I kind of looked it up super quick. So I'm just going to go over their like summary features that BMW has.
We have other thoughts for this too.
But it's the new 1300cc Boxer engine. It's liquid cooled, so it's a similar engine to the one that's found on the new GS, R1300 GS. Delivers 145 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. So pretty beefy bike. New steel frame with aluminum rear section. New upside down 45 millimeter forks, and I believe they are most likely fully adjustable on this as well. If not, it might even be electronically adjustable. Lighter wheels, so about 3 pound savings combined. New DSA dynamics and suspension adjustment. That's the electronic suspension. New prop up aid feature, which a
rider aid?
No, it's a prop up feature, part of the DSA. So that's do you remember how on the new GS
they have the adjustment?
Assist
For
helping you put it up on the center stand.
Yep. Okay.
So it's kind of the same feature as that.
So it's just like a sporty-ish roady.
It's basically like a road
GS, but not a sport tour.
Not a sport tour. No.
Yeah.
It's more like a road. BMW calls it a roadster.
Yeah.
A roadster bike.
Yeah.
New riding system with active cruise control and frontal collision warning. So that would explain the weird blank spot there on the front. I'm assuming they put in like
sensor.
That's where the radar is for it. New optional GPS prep with electronic lock. I feel like most BMWs have some kind of GPS cradle that they offer. Standard riding modes, rain, road, and eco. Engine drag control, which is basically like engine braking control. And their usual traction control and ABS, sport mode, road, etc.
Yeah.
Full LED lighting, 4 new styles, and then the usual like BMW connectivity and all of that kind of stuff.
Keyless.
Yep. And I believe, I'll just go over the basic specs, and it comes in at 527 pounds.
Wow.
So not a light bike, but that's also a pretty big engine. So it kind of makes sense that it would be.
Yeah. And just like with pretty much any GS engine too, it's going to have that
very low center of gravity.
Yeah, so a lot of that weight will be down low. We can attest to that on pretty much every GS we've sat on.
It is a shaft drive as well, which is nice.
That is
no
nice.
Chain maintenance there. And I feel like looking at it from the side profile here, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Monster.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that same like sloping front and the gas tank kind of just the way it curves. So I feel like, I don't know if it's supposed to like compete with the Monster or what category, but it's definitely not like a naked sports bike.
No, it's
a little bit more than that. Like it's a little beefier looking than that.
Yeah.
I feel like. It does have a 6.5-inch full-color TFT, and you know how much I love BMW TFTs. I think they do have phenomenal TFTs, which is awesome. 12-volt power available, and also a USB-C socket.
The tech sweet treats and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A USB-C socket, which I really like. Thank you for not putting the old
crappy one.
Yeah. Optional heated seat for rider and passenger, and that's always
bougie.
Nice, very bougie. And like I said, the riding assistant with cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and front collision warning, that is optional. Sport suspension, high performance braking, so all the usual stuff you kind of expect from a high-end BMW bike.
Yeah. Now, do you think that they advertise these well?
No, Mitch, I do not. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about these bikes is they announced them just a couple of weeks ago. But the announcements on Instagram, I instantly noticed they were like there was one where I was like, I thought it might be real, and it was just edited weird. But then like looking at it closer, I was like, okay, this is either a render or just straight up AI.
Yeah.
And on their Instagram post, they had like
we saw
AI
more
info tag on all of them. So I think like the actual like motorcycle in their posts,
they've made a nice machine.
Yeah. So the actual motorcycle in their posts looks like the actual render of the motorcycle, because AI is not going to make that.
Right.
But the background, the
texture
around it and everything else definitely looks like it was like AI generated, and
it just looks bad.
Biggest question is like, why the fuck why. Like even that image right there.
Yep.
That rider. That's AI. That's like AI mixed with a render and stuff like that.
I'll make sure to put that in the episode.
It just looks so weird. Like the backgrounds look weird on both the R12 and the R1300. They just look so off.
And it's like, we've ridden a few BMW bikes, and it's like they're nice bikes. Like
they're nice bikes. So I don't know why they chose to advertise with a rendered AI image. Yeah. Whether it's like cost saving, maybe some marketing nerd at BMW decided like, hey, we can save some money if we just AI these out, or we gotta justify our new Adobe subscription.
That probably. Well, because I even sent like earlier this week, I even sent like an old BMW ad, like where it was like a professional car driver and a motorcycle rider actually doing like a real stunt on the road.
Yeah. And it was an old BMW like 8 Series
from the 80s, yeah,
and the BMW like a BMW motorcycle.
And it's like it costs less if we use AI.
And to me, I'm very biased towards this because I work in marketing. Like I do photography, I do video. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, probably like 8 years or so since I graduated college, and even during college. So quite a long time. So seeing that and kind of like just blatant use of AI and not even having like any images of the actual bike. There might have been one or two just for reference, but of the actual like bike, but the rest of them has just been like these weird looking AI renders where it's like the rendered model of the bike mixed in with like a AI background, and it just looks kind of weird and uncanny. Like the lighting's weird, everything looks flat.
It looks like it's stickered into the image.
It really does. And I don't know why.
Like I've been getting a kick out of the AI videos of like Americans, like the Chinese people are making of Americans. I've been getting a kick out of those, but goddamn, they don't look real or good, and it's just lazy.
It's the same with these images. They just look wonky.
And
they look like out of place.
It just doesn't look good.
Like that person right there just looks so funny. Yeah, you'll have to put some of these into like.
I'm going to, and it's on their media kit, so I'm gonna plug them in because that's just
like these ones. I'm fine. These are like
that looks real
because like okay, you're just showing off like the colors and the proportions of the bike.
Well, even like if I get bored, and not to like just to like drive home that we're not being like super, extra rude to BMW because we're not. But it's like I'll go on like Triumph's page or some other motorcycle shop's page when I'm bored, and I'll customize out like on their builder page, right? Yeah. Obviously, that's not the real bike. That's an AI or a computer image, a rendered image. It's like, but I can still like get an idea of what it looks like, and I'm not like too pulling away from reality with this.
It just looks bad. So off.
It looks bad.
I am not a big fan, and also my brain instantly went to like, so who do they like decide not to pay and instead do this?
That's my thing is like, I'm sorry if for any manufacturer, like if you're asking me as a consumer to drop 18 grand on your machine, you're gonna put some freaking effort into that, like into advertising it. Yeah, like exactly. Like fuck off. Like, this AI bullshit.
It just looks so uncanny and so weird. And see, sometimes it's a little hard to tell.
Well, that's the thing with AI stuff, right? It's like I think they tried to get away with it,
but there's small little things that kind of throw it off. And like I said, I do think the actual model of the bike is obviously not AI because AI is not going to create that. But it's still a computer it's still AI a render.
Enhanced.
And then, but the background and everything else is not. It's just not a BMW. It's
the same thing. I just feel like it's some like dorky bean counter like trying to cut down costs on stuff. Exactly. It's like with like look at Triumph, right? Like with the speed twin with that new off-center weird ass display. It's just like well, it does like we don't care about it looking good. People will still buy it, And then and now with BMW, it's like well, we're not even going to drop an ounce of sweat into our advertising for this. Like,
and it's hire just a weird. Team, it's just humans. Weird. Yeah, hire a team, get humans, get some right. BMW has had some fantastic ads.
I'm sorry, you guys you can afford it.
Yeah, when the new like F900 GS came out, they had so many cool ads of people just riding off road. Yeah, and had some cool shots, and I'm like, Why isn't that out there? This is a cool looking bike.
Well, like
show us the real thing, riding like people actually riding it off road.
Yeah. Because at least like Triumph and they did that with the Speed Twin. We got to see the real bike on the road.
Yeah.
And we tore it apart there.
Yeah. And like I said, I am very biased towards this because this is pretty much what I do for my job.
Yeah. It's the competition for your future.
And like what gets me concerned is like, is BMW like, is this the route they're planning on taking? Are we gonna see it more? Is there gonna be enough just backlash that they like decide like, all right, maybe we should do some real ads? Especially for a bike like this, it's a good looking bike. It's got that retro styling that's in right now. It's got this classic BMW colors. It's a retro inspired bike. Like show it off racing in the Sahara Desert or something like that.
Yeah. Like with this one, like we're talking about here, like this is a GS.
Yeah.
You can afford to advertise your expensive ass bike.
Yeah.
And like, cause BMW is a established name in auto and motorcycle, like if this was like a startup motorcycle company and they're using AI to save costs, maybe we'd let it slide. Like, but
I mean, if you're a small startup and stuff, like it'd be even cheaper. This guy with an iPhone, just take out, get some good lighting, watch a photography video on YouTube, or hire your local photographer to take a picture for you.
Or that, yeah. So, but this is just...
That was just like the rant that I had like as soon as I saw it, because it just does not look good. It looks weird. It looks uncanny. And none of this stuff, like all of this stuff could have been recreated with actual like...
Do you know what that looks like?
Photographers.
That photo right there, that looks like a concept art for a video game.
It really does. Like all of these, and I don't see a single photo. Like this is the only one that looks somewhat like pretty realistic.
It's still
I'm pretty
enhanced.
sure this background is not real. And a lot of the other stuff. Like,
I'm gonna have to put some of these in so that if anyone watches this on YouTube, they can see how
judge BMW on this as well.
But if you're just listening, like you've seen it before, you've seen AI enhanced images, you've seen like there are AI ads out and everything, and it's a concept art. It just doesn't look.
See, that's a real photo.
That's good. Yeah. Like this is for that model. If you're not watching, it's like the clay cutting. Of like the model. So yeah, I
don't know. It was kind of weird, and I really wanted to like talk shit on it this episode a little bit.
No, I think we should. Not that like we're a big name or anything, but absolutely not. That's unacceptable.
No, and I like to keep my job in the future, and I don't want companies getting the idea if they could just...
That is not the standard I'm willing to accept for motorcycle ads. It just looks like crap and is lazy.
And also, like the other thing is like, AI is so big right now, and there are very good uses for it. We've used it in this show several times. We used ChatGPT a few times in this show to help us like come up with topic ideas, help us kind of like organize some things.
Even then, when we do that, it's like it'll give us like suggestions and stuff, and we'll take that and we'll build something up. We'll make an arguably good or bad idea, based on that versus like just like picking.
We don't have it do the job for us. We just kind of have it like help us like come up with basically a topic,
just ideas. Like inspiration, so that we can figure out what to talk about, and so
and there's a lot of tools where AI comes in handy. Like there's like in my field, like Photoshop, the new remove tools and things like that, where here's a power line in the middle, and you just remove it, and it does it so well. It's like so many of these.
It's an assist.
Things, it's great, but when it's using to like replace art, it like. A computer can't really emulate like a human brain, like a human thought when it comes to creativity and art, because it's not capable of thinking that way. And like the big controversy with this is totally off topic from motorcycles, but like with like AI art is most of it is kind of it uses real art to create art based in the style that only it knows. So it uses real life drawings and paintings and as photographs and videos as a reference to create its content. So it's not even original content. In fact, there was like even a court case. I don't think it went to the Supreme Court, but it was one of the federal court cases. But basically, like the court determined, at least here in the U.S., determined that an AI image cannot be claimed as copyrighted.
Right.
Even though someone like created the prompt and worked on the prompt to create that, there was like a lawsuit because a guy like made an AI image and tried to copyright it, and basically the copyright office said no, so he sued, and then court said no, because you didn't actually make it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think like copyright is like a different thing than versus like, is AI making art versus not too. You know, it's like AI is supposed to be like where it's at now. Like I think it's most powerful when it's used as like an assist, as like a tool.
And it's been great for that. Yeah. But also like so many of these companies are pushing like even Apple with their like, oh, look at our like Genmoji, like AI generated like image playground. I'm just like, who asked for this? Yeah. We don't need that. We don't need that in marketing. We don't need it on our phones. We don't need it literally plastered like Instagram. First thing you open up the messages, top thing it's like the Meta AI, ask Meta AI, and I'm just like,
it's same with Snapchat. Same with Snapchat too. That stupid AI thing. Even if I just Google something, the AI comes up first instead of actual results.
Yep. And I'm just like, can we please just fuck
And I would
off
say like 90% of the time. Yeah, 90% of the time, like when AI is like trying to take place of like answering a question or finding a source, 90% of the time it is completely the wrong context.
Oh yeah, I've seen that so many times, especially on like the Google search results where it's like, this isn't what this
I think it's
saying.
Well, it's just evident in this ad of just like it just doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit exactly. Yep. It's good as an assist tool. It's not good for replacing actual like human thought and thinking. Anyways, and rant on
complaining about BMW over.
But let us know what you think about the actual bikes. And if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to it, look up the BMW's ads and let us know what you think.
I would say look them up, get your own opinions. Like, and keep in mind, we're not dissing BMW or the bikes, these bikes in question. It's just like this was a bad artistic decision.
We're not dissing the bikes themselves. We're dissing BMW's marketing decisions.
Yep.
We're
for this case,
criticizing them.
Yeah.
Very thoroughly.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then to kind of wrap up. Yeah, not really wrap up. We still got time.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about like the looming economic.
Yeah. So as everyone may or may not know,
if you live in America.
Yeah, if you live in America, even if you don't live in America, you're probably aware that we like we're kind of looming on economic struggles, perhaps of another recession. Pretty much a recession. Yeah, so because we have idiots running this place.
Yep.
But it got me, like, in my position, I'm like a, not quite elder, but I'm like a medium well done millennial, I'm
not quite well done. Millennial.
Yeah.
I'm right on the cusp.
Yeah, I'm not one of the elder millennials, but like, man, I was in high school, like when the housing crisis hit. Yeah. I've been through now, like, there's all this, like the downturn, like with Obama afterwards, and then into, when we get into COVID, and then we get into the economic situation with COVID
and stuff like that. I remember like I was in junior high and I didn't quite understand what was going on. I mean, was it 2008, right?
Yeah.
The first, I've only lived in U.S. for 3 years at that point. Okay. I moved here in 2005.
Yeah. See, I was in like my senior year of high school.
Yeah. So. And I was in junior high, and I just remember like not quite understanding what everyone was talking about. Because one, I was a kid and I was dumb and I didn't care enough.
Yeah.
And two, like I was lucky enough to have like my father, he was in the military. He had a very stable job.
Right. Yeah.
So the recession, like, I'm sure there was like backhand stuff that I wouldn't notice that may have hit like our family, but I didn't personally feel any effects by it in like my everyday life when it first happened. But I know that not everyone was as fortunate and as lucky as
I remember
I have been.
I can't remember too much about my high school days now, but like I do remember like at times it was like I drove a Jeep back then, and the economic thing comes, gas gets crazy expensive, and this is again like involving like the war in Iraq and everything too.
Yeah.
It got to the point like I'm working like my shitty 2000s minimum wage job. It was like $5.15, right?
Yeah.
And gas is like $4 a gallon or something at that point.
Yeah.
Or $3 or something. And I had, like there was even a time I remember like I didn't go to work. I just called out of work because I couldn't afford to put gas in my Jeep to get to work. So that, and we just like, oh, it's getting better. It's getting better. Oops. Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better. Oops.
Yeah.
And I was like, these fucking clowns. I just kind of hit this point of just like, I've had it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done being polite.
I am so tired of hearing the word tariff over the past like not 3 weeks, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this and that, and this constant like looming thing on the horizon that's like, oh, it's happening, and then they backtrack. Oh, it's happening again, and then they backtrack.
Yeah.
And how this relates to motorcycles is that shit's gonna get more expensive.
It is, and you know, like your personal financial situation is gonna be stressful for you.
Yeah. Unless you're super rich.
Yeah. Unless you're doing well.
Feel free to send us some money at buymeacoffee.com.
Well, no, you know, if you
this podcast,
you know, I'll say if you're fortunate enough that you're doing well and you're going to get through like any economic troubles on your, you know, like good. I'm glad you and your family are going to be fine. You know, but in terms of like with us or anybody else, it's going to come down to unfortunately, we have an expensive hobby, and I think a lot of people with motorcycling that's a mental health hobby.
Yeah,
and I just. And this year, particularly, even before the economic bullshit, you know, like ER bill, motorcycle, like the big motorcycle maintenance,
yeah,
you know, and now with the recession, it's just like, boy, all my motorcycle plans are dented at least.
It makes it hard to like plan stuff around, especially with it being so inconsistent and volatile, because you don't know like what they're gonna do next.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to increase more tariffs, which means that's going to be more expensive, not only motorcycles, but motorcycle parts,
food,
gear,
just everything.
Like food,
yeah,
gas, like tire, like all the stuff that we would probably need for our regular rides or trips could come out costing a lot more.
And this isn't going to be like a therapy session complaining bit for the rest, you know, but it's just more of like what I've personally been like dealt with this week, mentally going through that. I just felt like we have the podcast. I think it's just important to remind everybody, just take care of yourself mentally. You know, like don't think wherever you're at, if you're in a bad spot, like don't think that you're going to lose your bike. You can make it work. You know, you may just have to make small adjustments
especially
for your situation.
If it's paid off already.
Yeah.
You're like better than someone who's taking out a loan on it. At least.
Yeah.
It's yours. You can keep it. You don't have to make any more payments on it.
You know, and like, so again, like I was mentioning before we recorded, like earlier this week, I went for a ride. I was in a bad mood. It didn't help. Riding, like I was really just pissed off, more like hopeless in the sense of like, man, I went for a ride and it didn't fix my mood. You know? You know, it's like you just got to figure out how to keep it going without stressing yourself out. Because that's one thing I was doing. I was riding. And I was like, I'm out for a ride. I'm trying to clear my mental headspace. Oh, look at this gas meter. Gas is going to get expensive.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's easy to kind of get into that mindset and just keep it snowballing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things like that I want to say is like, I know like we love the hobby. We love spending money on it and things like that. But also like, don't like keep your bike running. Keep it operational. Keep it like safe. First of all, have your safety gear, but also don't stress if you can't buy like an extra accessory for it or an extra like or something new for it or another bike and things like that. Because like, especially if you have other people to support, like family, kids, pets, things like that, you know, there's certain things that you kind of have to like put forward in that situation. And that's totally okay. You still have your bike. If it's paid off, you're better off than like so many other people who have debt, especially on like a motorcycle, which for most people in America is more like a hobby, more like a toy versus like a necessity. So it's good. Practice the hobby, go on rides. Luckily, motorcycles don't use a lot of gas, so it's not quite as expensive to run them, but don't let it kind of bring you down too much, and don't ride angry.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is you really I made that mistake this week. I rode angry. It was dangerous. It was stupid.
Yeah.
You know, I got home and after I'd calmed down a little bit, I was like,
not good.
That's you know, it's a bad example.
Yeah. I've ridden before where I haven't really ridden like angry, but I've ridden before where I was like pretty sad, like a very sad mood, and I noticed it has like affected my writing.
Well, you're not paying attention.
You're not paying as much attention. Your mind is wandering all over the place.
Yep.
You're kind of like spacey a little bit here and there. And it's for a bike, like not a good mental state to have because it's already not a safe hobby. Like there are risks involved.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your head on point.
Yeah.
You got to keep it sharp. And if you're thoughts are starting to wander and you're not paying attention to the ride, then that could lead to bad consequences.
Yeah. So, you know, like we're not going to really, I don't really want to like harp on about like go after like the details of like, oh, how this idiot running the country is going to make your hobby more expensive. You know, like it's not that. It's just take care of yourself, take care of your hobby. You know, like even in my situation this year, I had to buy new tires and do the big service.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that again for another 20,000 miles.
So your
tires probably good for like another 10, 12,000, you know? So it's like, I'm set. It's just maybe this year I can't take a vacation necessarily, maybe, you know,
or buy that exhaust,
or buy a new exhaust that's going to shave a bunch of weight off my bike. You know,
and
but
I'm kind of in the same boat, because there was like, I had plans for buying new accessories for my bike. That I'm like, I don't know if I want, there's ones that I can, like, I know I probably still can afford, but I'm like, there's other things that I kind of want to prioritize more, like going on another trip, maybe even a shorter weekend trip, because this Florida one was pretty lengthy and not cheap.
Yeah. Well, and it's just one of those things of just like, you know, like everyone's going to have their hobby. You know, if you're into fly fishing, you're going to spend a lot of money on fly fishing equipment, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing with motorcycles. It's like if it's something you enjoy, you just got to make it work, kind of, but like be smart about. I don't know, you know, it's just like if motorcycling brings you peace, don't let the cost of it make you lose it.
Yeah,
I mean, be smart.
Don't sell your bike
unless you really have to. We're not your financial advisors. I'm just saying, mental health wise, don't lose something that keeps you in. And again, we are coming up on the DGR in May.
And DGR, like we've talked about previously before, it's a big advocate for men's mental health and prostate cancer research.
Yep.
But the big factor is like the men's mental health. They donate to a lot of organizations that support that. And if you have a ride happening locally in your town, go check it out. Make some new friends.
Gentleman'sride.com.
Yep.
You can
make some new friends, hang out with some folks, check out some of the cool bikes that people bring out. So it's always a fun, good time. And I think this year it's probably going to hit even harder than last few years. Yeah.
And, you know, in the past years too, you know, they've been like, oh, if you want to donate to us, you can. I think that offer still stays open, but I do also want to be more mindful of like asking people for donation money when we're about on the cusp of a recession or depression, you know. And
put yourself first.
Yeah.
Yourself and your family first. Everything else.
Like, and you know, I think this year, one thing I was thinking about after I've had my shitty week and everything, you know, but like, instead of like asking or like trying to raise money, I still am going to like, hey, if whoever can, if you want to, you can donate. But for myself, it's just like, I just want to be more mindful with like people in my life and myself. Like one thing I saw, like a quote I saw today actually, and I just hope if it helps anyone else, as we're talking about mental health, if you're trying to decide like what's anxiety versus what's intuition, it was, intuition is like the old quiet dog that says yeah or nah, you know?
Yeah.
Anxiety is like the war battle or the PTSD chihuahua, you know, attacking shadows.
Yeah.
And that's anxiety. And you just got to figure out like, you know, you don't have to give it up. You don't have to make major changes quite yet, you know? And
if you are in like a not right mental state, if you are struggling with like anxiety or depression, you don't know who to talk to. If you have like health insurance or if you can afford it, see if you can find a local in-person therapist.
Yeah.
Because I've done therapy.
Yeah.
I have a therapist now. You've done it before.
Looking for one.
Looking for one. It does make a difference, and it does help to have someone that's not related to, that's not your friend, that's kind of like a neutral party to talk to. It can take some time to find one that fits you right, but like don't give up.
Yeah.
Talk to them. It's their job to listen, to give you advice, and it's been super helpful for me.
Yeah,
to figure out a lot of stuff in my life, and I have plenty of friends that are also in therapy. A lot of them are the ones that inspired me. Ted Lasso inspired me to go talk to a therapist initially, and a lot of them swear by it, and it really does make a difference. It really does help.
Well, and that's one thing. That's the other thing of like bringing it into is like, hey, you know, like especially if you're a millennial like me, maybe, or us, you know, it's just like, I'm just sick and tired of all this bullshit of like, oh, maybe now I can start to build up my life and my wealth and like, you know, get in a better spot. And then some dipshit just
crashes the entire economy. And now we, and the fact that makes it hard to plan is because it's been so inconsistent. Yeah. It's been a roller coaster of like, we're putting tariffs.
That's been my problem.
Like we're putting on tariffs. We're taking them away. We're putting them on. We're taking away. I know other countries are now like starting to be like, you know what? We're just going to retaliate regardless of what you do and just keep our side of the tariffs going. And if you think that you're not going to be the one that paying the tariffs, you're wrong. That's not how they work.
Yeah.
The prices are going to get passed down to us, the consumers.
But and exactly. But away from all that, my point of being is like, all this bullshit is becoming a reality again, you know? It got me to realize once I was able to kind of like regulate and calm down a little, is that like, oh, maybe it's time to go back to therapy, you know? And then I just started thinking too, is like all these years, like, oh, let's spread awareness, men's mental health, you know, let's go on rides, let's do this, which is good to do. Those are good symbolic gestures, but I think I have been neglecting the work myself.
Yeah, and it does take a lot of work.
Yeah. You can't just you can't just like,
and the other big thing is like, if you've never done it, it's not like you go a few times and then all of a sudden you're cured.
It's work.
It's a constant process.
Yeah.
And I've had weeks where like, where I feel pretty good. And I'm like, you know, I would go into a therapy session. My therapist will ask like, oh, you know, do you want to schedule the next appointment? And I go like, yeah, we can probably schedule like a couple of months from now and stuff. I'm in a pretty good state. And then I had other times where I'm just like, let's come back in 2 weeks because I just have more things that I want to like work through that need more like that need to be like happen more frequently and things like that. So it is work.
Yeah, and so that's what it really. And so personally, I think that's one thing I've realized about myself this week in relation to mental health and motorcycles facing the world. You know, it's like just make sure you're doing that work. It's just accountability for your actions and yourself. You know.
Yeah.
We're not your therapists. We're not your doctors. Don't take any life advice from us, but just like,
we're sharing our own personal experience.
Yeah. It would, in my experience, it does great help to go find a therapist that works for you. And that's the trick too, is finding a therapist that you click with.
It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy, but I got lucky because I really liked mine right from the get-go.
Yeah.
But, and it takes a few sessions to kind of like get the ball rolling.
Of course.
Because that first one is always just kind of like introductions. Why are you in therapy? Like, what do you want to work on?
They're awkward. It's awkward.
It's really awkward. And over time, you kind of open up more and more and more. But
so
I think that's it.
That's pretty much all I had. Just want to make sure everyone just takes care of themselves, ride safe.
Feel free to shoot us emails. Like I said,
we're not going to talk politics with you.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not going to talk politics, but please reach out to us with your stories and if riding is going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah. Or how you're like, if you have any concerns about like,
or actually
the living economy and things like that, like
what you're going to do for your mental health.
Yeah. That's a really good one.
What I would actually really like to see is if anybody else can find some like really shitty motorcycle AI ads, I want to see them.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Send us those. That'd be really fun to see.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening.
Ride safe.
Enjoy the warm weather if you live in a cold place. Hopefully it's getting warmer for you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.